All right. Good morning. I had some technical difficulties right about when I started the first version of this podcast. Audio was not coming out, so I had to log back out and log back in. I do want to sincerely apologize for that hiccup and that mess up, and I hope the audio can be heard now, and it's good to go so that we can just dive into this topic for today and get it going. So if you listen to me now there and you have tuned into this podcast, just give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. I would like to know if you can hear me. Just give me a thumbs up, and I will know that the audio is good to go. All right. So if you can hear me, all right. Looks like we do have audio, which is really good. Okay, so we do have audio, and we will just dive deep since we waste a little bit of time coming on. We will just dive right into what we have to do for today. So today we will be looking at Microsoft Windows 10, and uh, Microsoft Windows 10 is an operating system, and it's from Microsoft. Just to give a little bit of background to that, which we'll talk about in the next one or two slides. We'll talk about that and just dive into the features of Microsoft Windows 10. What does it come with? And then, but before that, we'll just give a little bit of background story as to what is an operating system, because we are saying that Microsoft Windows 10 is an operating system, and it's a background to that. Microsoft didn't just start with Microsoft Windows 10; they started from 3.0, 3.1, and Windows. The introduction of Microsoft Windows actually revolutionized the entire computer industry because it took us away from the character user interface, the call as C, the character user interface to a graphical user interface. What that means is that we now begin to use our mouse to click on stuff and to give the computer instructions and commands instead of just using a black screen with a cursor that's just blinking, white cursor that's just blinking, and everything you want, every other way you wanted to interact with the computer, you have to enter the command through the command prompt or through that character user interface to have the computer to perform a specific task for you. So what's in a graphical user interface when computing started? It was just a character user interface. So it made it a little bit cumbersome, a little bit tedious to use the computer system. But with the introduction of Microsoft Windows, then it made it a little bit easier. And as it went along, it got easier and easier that almost anyone can use a computer. You don't have to have like memorize a lot of commands and a lot of keys to be able to perform, the task or the function you want to perform on the computer system. You don't need that. You just use your mouse and you click your way around the computer and you can get things done, right? So that is what Windows ushered us into, and that's the era that Windows ushered us into. So Windows 10 is just one of those most recent version of the Microsoft Windows operating system. And it's not even the most recent one. The most recent one is Windows 11. So Windows 10 is just right in. It's still widely used, but people are transitioning to Windows 11. So, but in most part of the world, in Africa and other places, I know a lot of people are still using Windows 10. That's why we are starting out with the Windows 10 operating system. In the future, we'll do another video for Windows 11. But Windows 10, because it's still widely used in the industry and it's still widely used out there for our part of the world that we try to target. So these are the topics we'll be covering for this section. An introduction: what's the Windows operating system, the Windows desktop, the start menu, the taskbar, the system tray, the action center. And then someone will ask, why we go into the Windows 10, like introduction to Windows 10, and trying to understand, what Windows 10 is. It's like if you buy a car, you have to first, the sales guy or whoever is at the dealership will walk you around the car and show you the different features that the car has, right? And it was surprising to know that a lot of people have cars that the only thing they do is to just start the car with the key, go to work, come back and park the car. They don't really know much about that car. It's just like we have a lot of computer users like that. So all they do, if I have to my work on that computer is to enter numbers. I just log onto my computer, open the application I want to use, enter my numbers, and I leave. And if something goes wrong with the computer, how do I mitigate that process? How do I, at least at the user level, how do I change the picture or the image on my desktop? Right? How do I make the computer to my computer system to feel the way I want it to feel? It's like you have your house or your home. You design your living room, your kitchen the way you want it to be, right? What kind of utensils you want in your kitchen? You decide what you want to put in your kitchen as your utensils. In your living room, the same thing, right? You the kind of setup you want, how large you want your TV screen to be, how large you want your furniture to be, how comfortable you want it to be. So you set up all of those things in your living room. It's the same with when it comes to working with the computer, right? So that's what Windows does. If I'm operating a computer, or I have my personal computer, right? I want to customize it. I want to set it up to the way I want it to be. So basically, that's why we're going through the introduction to Windows 10. So those are the topics we'll be covering in this particular section. So we'll familiarize ourselves with the Windows 10 operating system and the main elements. What are the main elements or features of the Windows 10? So Windows operating system. So we'll talk a little bit about Windows operating system to give us a background to operating systems or Windows 10, and then we'll move on to looking at the major or key features of the Windows 10 operating systems, what that environment looks like, and how do I, move around that environment. So Microsoft Windows is currently referred to as Windows, and it comes with a family of operating systems. We used to have Windows 95. There was Windows 98. There was Windows XP. There was Windows Me, and that was for the desktop, market, which is used in a network environment for networking and stuff like that. So they design different operating system for different environment and different functions, and based on what they do. But the most widely used is the Windows operating system. It's one just referred as Windows. That's where you find the most desktop computers and most laptops, in different businesses. I mean, almost like 60% to 70% of the industry uses Microsoft Windows operating system. And almost every computer or laptop you buy has a Windows, installed on it. It comes pre-installed on most operating systems. There's not a day that you go to buy a computer from the store that you don't have a Windows installed on it. It all comes with Windows installed on it, right? So it is one of the most widely used applications, operating system out there is the Windows, and you can find on different devices, personal computers, on laptops, on tablets, and on servers. So we look at what are the key features of a Windows operating system. It comes, as I said earlier on, it comes with a graphical user interface. This is a very, a user-friendly graphical interface that has what we call icons, it has windows, it has menus, and it makes it easier for the user to interact with the computer, as we said earlier on. Right, so that's one of the most key feature of Windows is that it comes with a graphical user interface where you see icons, you see buttons, you see menus. And the most important thing about it, it makes it very easy for us to be able to interact with the computer system. So that's one of the major feature or the key feature of the Windows operating system. And it also comes with one of the major feature of that is multitasking. And Windows will allow users to perform different or to run multiple applications or programs at the same time. And on my system I'm using right now, and even in your system that you've been using, you realize sometimes you open Microsoft Word, you open Excel, you open PowerPoint, you have a music playing, you have the browser open, you're doing something else in the browser, you got So you can, that's multitasking, right? Where you can open different applications at the same time. Though you might not necessarily be using all of them at the same time, but you might be using two. I might be playing music, and then in my Word document and typing at the same time, right? So that's multitasking. You opening different applications, in that environment at the same time. But as I said, when we first had the introduction of operating system, it wasn't that way. If I was just doing one task on the computer, it's just that task I'm performing. That's all. If I want to play music, I'll just play music at that moment. But with the introduction of Windows operating system, it enable us to multitask where we can, allow our users were allowed to perform more than one task at a time. And it also came with started coming with different variants, right? Different versions of Windows were all introduced, as I said. There was Windows 3.1, Windows 95, Windows XP, Windows 7, and Windows 8. There was there was a Windows 10, which we talking about right now. Will be dive deeper into, and then there is a Windows 11. Haha, just so you know. Yeah, so Windows 10 is out there. Windows 11 is out there. So you buy some systems, and they always have Windows 11 installed, or they'll give the option to upgrade to Windows 11 on that system. And one of the major features of Windows operating system is that it also comes with regular updates. And updates are just if Microsoft releases new updates, they make some changes, right, to the operating system. So your system, once you connect to the internet, you can check for updates on there's a tools in Windows called updates, Windows updates. It once you open that tool, it goes online onto Microsoft site and check if there have been new updates or any changes to the Microsoft operating system or some features in Microsoft. And if there is, it downloads that onto your computer, and then you install it, and then you upgrade to that system. It's like your BMW was just released that you can just attach to your car, right? So you go to BMW, and they're going to give you that feature, and then the service technician, whoever it is, can install that new feature onto your car or update the software, and then you can make use of that new feature, right? So it's the same thing with the operating system. And Microsoft operating system also comes with what called software compatibility. That is very important. That's very key. That is where the system is compatible with other applications, right, or other software. So because Microsoft alone does not produces or develop application software, right? There are other companies, there are other vendors that are that are producing or developing application software and other systems. In such a way that all those other softwares or application software that are developed by other vendors can be able to work on Microsoft Windows. So like Apple is not that way. Apple is a little different. They are strictly for Apple. Apple works on Apple, right? There are lots of software that you cannot, for other vendors, that you cannot just easily install on an Apple device. It doesn't work that way. Yeah, it does not. But with Microsoft, there's a seamless integration or compatibility between other vendors' software applications and the Windows environment. You can easily install those applications in there and use them. So if, for example, I don't want to use Microsoft Word, right, for word processing, I have a standalone application that was developed by another vendor or another developer somewhere that I can use for word processing. Microsoft systems allow me to install that application on my Windows system to be able to take advantage of that particular application software. So that's what it means when it comes to software compatibility. And then Microsoft Windows come with what we call a file system. A file system is just how the files on the computers are organized, and it supports permission, encryption, and compression. Right, we'll talk about a little bit about that in a little. Permission is do I have access to? Do I have the right to access that file? Can I encrypt? Encryption is where you want to decipher or encrypt so that other people cannot easily have access to that file. That's encryption. It's more of security. Compression is where you want to reduce the size of the file. It's too large to take from one place to another place, right? So within the Windows operating system, it allows you to be able to uh, set file permission, who can access the file. It allows you to encrypt the file so that anyone cannot just open the file easily, just in case a hacker or someone wants to open a file. They don't have that right encryption right to be able to, open that file or to decrypt it, right? There has to be a code that it can use to decrypt. There's encryption and there's decryption. Encryption is where you're encoding it so that it cannot easily be accessed or broken into. And decryption is where I'm able to have a particular code or key that have been assigned to me to be able to access that file or to decode it so I can be able to use it, right? And then compression, as we say, is where you can reduce the size of the file. If the size of the file is too large, you can compress it. Okay, and that's a Windows server, right? So Windows operating system come in different version. We talk about the what we're just explaining about is the desktop version. We have the Windows servers that are designed for the server environment. Where we're talking about networking and the rest of the stuff. And the server is just a device, a machine that is sitting somewhere that provides services to other machines that are on the network. So just for now, just know that a server could be another machine that is providing services to other computers in the network. For example, I can have a print server, right, where I install printers on that particular server. Where if anyone in my company do not have the printer directly attached to their computer, but have a print server, so I can use the print server so that everybody can connect to that one system, maybe able to print out, documents from that different offices and that different, locations within the corporate building. And we also have mobile. We also have Windows operating system for mobile devices. We have Microsoft Windows also has what we call cloud integrations. Windows 10 and later version integrate with Microsoft cloud services such as OneDrive, Azure, enabling seamless synchronization of data and settings across devices. And that is a very key feature, right? OneDrive, if I have OneDrive installed on my computer, it's like a cloud-based system, right? And what OneDrive is just a space that's been rented out somewhere in a data center that you can connect to through the network, but they call it the cloud. I can store things in the cloud at that data center, not necessarily on my computer. So what that does is that if I have a OneDrive account, I can be able to access that data from any location as compared to just the data being on my computer at my house. If I leave my house and I go somewhere else, I cannot access that data because it's just stored on the computer drive at my home. So, but with the cloud integration and OneDrive, as an example, that data or that document or what it is, once I save it on OneDrive, I can be able to sit in any location or anywhere else apart from my home and access that data. Because what happens is that that data is stored in the cloud, and the cloud is not somewhere in space out there that people think it's in space. It's not in space. The cloud refers to it's just a data center, group of servers and group of very powerful computer that they find a specific place. They call it a data center where they install these very huge servers and the huge data storage devices for storing all of your data on that location. You can use the internet, network to access those data. So that's the cloud. So instead of residing on your premise or on your personal device or on your storage location, it's stored somewhere else on somebody else's storage, huge and massive storage facility that has been designed. And you can access that through a web interface. You can go online, open a web browser, and be able to connect to that data center and have access to your data that's been stored at that data site. So that's one key feature of Windows 10 and the most recent versions of that. Okay, so Windows plays a very crucial role in the computing world. It provides a platform for both personal and business use. Its widespread adoption, user-friendly interface, and compatibility with a wide range of hardware and software have made it a dominant operating system for decades. So Windows have been a major operating system for decades, and they continue to be because of several factors. Its friendly user interface, its ability to seamlessly work with other hardware and softwares, uh, have made it a very, very familiar force in the industry, and it's on almost every device and almost every system. Uh, Businesses are using Microsoft Windows, some version of that in their operations. So move on to the next slide. So that's is the just a picture of the Windows 10 desktop, and the desktop is just the main area. Once if you boot your computer, right, or you power your computer on, the first screen you'll see when you log in there, that will be the Windows desktop. So I'm just going to show you a Windows desktop I have here. Give me a second. It's going to take a minute to load up. And for that, I'm using I set up a virtual box that I did install Windows 10 in there. So that's why it's taking a little bit of time to pop up. We'll just give it a second. It looks like we're sleeping. Yeah, there you go. So that is the Windows 10 desktop, right? That's the way you work from. You open the application. What do you want to do? That document or that application will open on our desktop for us to use. This is very, very plain. Some people have different, you see different icons or different things on that screen. But for now, I have two items on my Windows desktop. Give me a little bit of chance. I'm using a virtual machine, so it's taking it's a little bit slow. So please bear with me. So that's the Windows 10 desktop, and I have two items on the desktop for now. But you can add more items on your Windows desktop, and the Windows desktop comes with the background picture. You see the Windows 10 logo, and with the start button here at the bottom where you see my mouse moving. That's the start button. I just click on that, and then it has the task bar at the bottom of the screen. That black area that's running down there is the task bar, and then on the far right hand side of the taskbar is the system trade, right? And you can use that for different things, for changing the date and time, for setting your audio, for connecting to Wi-Fi, for connecting to VPN, different stuff that you can easily access instead of going to the control panel. It just plays that some major, key things you might need to do, basic services and tools for you to use. And then that's the task bar I said. It has a search bar right here. It has a search bar that you can go in there and search for items if you want to. For example, if I want to search for, let's say, control panel, right? I can just go in that box and type control. Give me a second. My screen is a little bit slow because I'm using a virtual box for this demonstration. So it might take a few seconds to pop up on the screen. All right. I'm going to set up next time I'll be using two monitors for demonstration purposes so that I cannot have that lag behind. I'm trying to open something and I click and it's taking like a few seconds before they can. It should not be that way. I do apologize for that. So yeah, it's really, really slow. You can see that. We should not have that delay. It's for your Windows 10 desktop. I think you've seen that before. And once you use a computer, you've been able to access that before, and that is the start menu. And then the search bar that makes it easy to search for a particular application or a particular file that I'm looking for. Where you see my pointer, I'm just moving the mouse at the bottom there. That's the start. That's the search bar. I can type the name of what I'm looking for, and then it's going to pop up on the list. And I just click on the item instead of going all around the computer to navigate to find what I'm looking for. I can use the search bar and just type the name of the item that I want to see. It could be an application, it could be a file, it could be a folder, it could be what are you looking for. And then it's going to pop it up. It's going to pop up on our menu. And then once it's on the menu, I can click on that and then I can move along. So that is the start. Let me see, control. So I'm just tapping the control panel. It's taking a little bit of time to pop load, I said, because I'm using the virtual box would have been a little bit faster, but it's not very fast. So that is my my fault. So it just, if you look in the list, you see control panel right up there, right? So I type control panel in the search bar, and it brought it up in the list for me. It brought other things that are kind of like, similar to control panel, that has control panel in them. So it's going to bring all the names and everything that has control panel within the name. So you see control panel open, control panel Windows 10, control panel Windows 11, but they're all the same thing. I mean, I can, if I want to open the control panel, it's an open control panel. I can just click on that. If you look towards my right hand side, I actually see control panel on that list. I can just click on that, and it opens up the control panel for us. So the control panel is one thing that we'll be diving a little bit deeper into. It's a very, very key feature when it comes to Windows, operating the Windows environment. It has a lots and lots of tools that you can use to troubleshoot, to customize your computer, to just do a lot of amazing things, and to kind of like set up your computer to function the way you want it to function. So the control panel is talking about the specific tools. Most of the tools looking at in there, like the device manager, changing the date and time. They got printers and devices. They got phone. They got mouse. They got keyboard. They got power options, storage space, troubleshooting. As I said, user accounts, systems. It has network and sharing, phone, which not be do much about it. BitLocker, data for encryption, backup. So that is the control panel. We'll be using that in a little bit to do a lot of things. So later on, we will be diving deeper into that. I have a whole section that I have just brought out about the control panel. Give me a second. Let me. All right. Sorry, my phone was ringing. Diving deeper into the control panel and a lot of the tools and all of the utilities within the control panel later on as we move along into our journey of Windows, the Windows 10 operating system. So stay tuned with us. Do not leave us because we have a lot in stock for you. All right. So that's just a basic overview of the Windows 10 desktop and the features it have on the Windows 10 desktop. We'll move on to the next, which is the Windows 10 start menu. We just saw this start menu. When we click on that link, it opened the Windows 10 for us. And you can use the start menu to shut down the computer, to put your computer to sleep, to open, applications, or to open documents, or to open do whatever you want to go on your computer. That's what the start menu for. It's like you went to the restaurant, right? To give the menu, right? So the menu give you a list of things that you can do. So it's the same concept that was imported into Windows 10. Give you a menu or a start menu that you can use, to start things up, to move to different locations, to find your location the way around. If you just walk into a restaurant and you don't know where to go, you look at the menu. The menu will give you an idea as to what is on that menu, right? So the start menu will help you to navigate to different places within the computer and just to see what is installed on your computer, different option, different features, and different things you can do. So that's the Windows 10 start menu. And then we also talk about the tax bar, which is the bar that's running at the bottom here. You can see that of the desktop, and it has the tax bar has the search bar that we just use a few seconds to search for a document, to search for an app, to check for search for utilities, or to search for what you want to do. I want to check for the control panel. I can use the search bar instead of going to the start menu to go to try to on the start menu to locate the control panel. I can just go to the search bar and type it in there, and then it pops it up, and I open it from there. Or if I want to go to use Microsoft Word, instead of going to start menu to look all on the start menu to find Microsoft Word, I can just go to my search bar right in there and type Microsoft Word, and it's going to pop it up, and I can just open it from there. and I can just click on, open that. So the search bar makes it a little bit easier to find stuff or to find things on your computer system. And this, we spoke about the system tray, right? It's at the bottom right hand of your Windows screen. And at the bottom right of the Windows screen, you'll see the date and time. It shows the date and time. It shows some English International. It shows notification. That's for sound. That's for your Wi-Fi. That's for your power management. So that system tray, you can use that to kind of change the date and time of your computer, to change what kind of language your computer is using, and to see what kind of notification the system gives. The system will regularly give you some notifications about things that are going on in the system. So if you click on that, it opens a list. If there are notifications and tell you, oh, well, you have these things going on, you just receive a message in your Outlook and the rest of the stuff and the sound. If I want to adjust my audio on my computer, I can use the sound icon, just click on it, and then it opens the sound property for me, and then I can adjust my audio using that. And then, of course, this icon we all use it most of the time, right? It's for Wi-Fi. If I want to connect to a Wi-Fi, I left my location to another location, right? And I want to connect to the Wi-Fi in that place. It gives me a list of Wi-Fi that I can choose from to install. Power management. How do I want to manage the life of my battery on the computer system, on my computer? We'll be diving into a lot of these things later on from within the control panel. But just know that it's a system tray that you can do a lot of stuff, right? So if I didn't want to use the system tray, if I want to use audio from the control panel, I can just go to the to the desktop and in my search bar, and I enter audio in there, and it's going to give me the audio utility. I click on it, and I go to my audio property. So instead of going through that long process, it's right in the system tray. I can use it from right there. All right, let's move on. All right, that's the Action Center. So the Action Center is also there. It gives you a list of things that you can perform, or things you can do. That's just a picture of that. When click slash out from the right hand side of the screen, it provides notification about updates, system warnings, and all the important messages. It also includes a quick action button for common settings. So you can see the Action Center from Windows 10. It gives you some basic things you can do, right? Once you click on that, this little arrow here, it pops it up. You see network, you see notes, all settings, location, project, VPN, Bluetooth, connect, and the rest of the tools you can use there. So just another way to quickly access a lot of these utilities, a lot of these tools, instead of going to the control panel and going to search for them. The Action Center gives you access to them, very easily update that you can be able to use them. Then the Windows, no, that's not the last slide. The control panel and app settings. So the control panel, as I said, is a very, very important feature when it comes to Windows and Windows 10. So Windows 10, there are two main tools for changing system settings: the settings app and the control panel, right? So you want to change your system settings on your computer to configure it to make the system to work or function the way you want it to be. We use system settings on the control panel and settings app. The settings app has more modern design, includes most of the basic settings you need to change. The control panel includes more advanced settings. So if you look here, I have a view of the control panel and I have the view of the Windows settings. So if, for example, I want to go back and search for Windows for settings, I can just go back to the Windows desktop that we had earlier on today. Bear with me, it's going to be a little bit slow again because I'm using a virtual box. I only have one monitor, so I have to use the virtual box. Okay, hopefully it's not slow this time. And then from a search bar, I can just type settings, settings. And then once I type settings in there, it's going to open the settings utility, and I just click on it. Once it's open, I click on that. All right. and I click on that. It's opening settings. There you go. Just open our settings for us. Yeah, I do apologize for the whole virtual machine uh, environment. It's a little bit slow because uh, it's nature. But the next time I'm running it, we're going to be using two different monitors, and I don't have to be switching. I don't have to be switching. Using the virtual machine. It's going to be very seamless. Seamless. All right. So if you look on your screen now, it's showing for us the Windows settings, and then in there, it gives a lot of tools in there, right? You see settings, personalization, gaming, updates and security, devices, apps, easy access, phone, accounts, search, networking. So that is that's Windows settings utility. So with that, you can change your system setting, right? So these tools, you can find some of them in the system tray or on the task bar. So that's for easy access, like audio. You see sound in there. So instead of coming here to find system settings, to look for or sound or power management, I can just use my system tray and do that. But if you don't want to do that, you can still come here and you click on systems, and it's going to open a location, that utility, where you can change a lot of your system settings and we'll we will definitely dive into the system setting and the control panel. If you look there, you see display, you see sound, power and sleep, battery storage, tablet, and it gives you a long list of things and long list of settings, things you can make changes to for your system. So later on in this series, we will be diving a little bit deeper into how we can change or how we can use our systems, our settings to make some changes to our computer or our what other device we're using. How do I use the system settings to make some changes, right? If I want to adjust my power settings on my laptop, how do I go about doing that? I can use the power feature here and do that. So we will be using that later on. We'll be going deeper into the settings to be able to change some of the features of our computer so that we can make the computer behave the way we want it to behave, so to speak. So we will be using system settings, and a lot of settings or features they have in there that you can change. You see remote desktop, remote desktop, whenever you can sit behind your computer and connect to other computers somewhere else, or even some people work from home. They use the remote desktop a lot of times to access, files and other applications that's not stored on their personal computer or on their system at home, but on the corporate, server somewhere. They can use remote desktop to be able to get to those resources that they need to use. All right, so would you just log off that, and then we'll go back to our slide and continue with our slide, and then we'll finish it up. And then another feature. So we saw the control panel earlier on. We did open the control panel. It has a lot of tools. And then another features in Windows 10 is the File Explorer, and this is very important. If 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 you're going to be using the computer, it happens most of the time, even to experienced user, right? Sometimes you save a file and you come back the next day or document, you're searching your whole computer and you can't just locate where you can't just remember where you saved your document, right? So the Explorer, Windows File Explorer, just helps you to organize your files, your documents, and your folders. We'll talk a little bit about what folders are. Folders are the yellow ones you're looking at there. The files are the documents you created in an application is saved as a file on the computer. And folders are the container where you save those your files in or your documents in, or whatever data you have. We call them data. That's the files. The files are made of data, right? Information in those files. So Windows File Explorer is just it's a location that you open in Windows 10 or in Windows 98, Windows XP, Windows 7, that allows you to just browse and organize, where things are safe or where things are kept on your computer. But there are some standard things that come with the file Windows File Explorer. It always comes with favorites. It comes with a desktop, downloads, recent photos, images, videos, libraries, and some other things. If you find yourself in a network environment, there are other things you'll see in there. If you're not on a network environment, there are other tools that you will see and other tools you will not see. So sometimes it might vary based on how your system is set up. So if you've seen some features on your system and not on other system, just know that it's how the system has been customized to show what is shown to you. Okay, so that's the Windows File Explorer. As I said, is very important. If you want to locate a particular file, if you want to locate a particular document, an image, a video, what it is that you saw on your computer. If you did a download, you want to locate that download, then you can use Windows 10 File Explorer to locate that item or to organize the files and the folders that you do save or store on your computer. This is a frequently used one of the frequently used features of Windows is the File Explorer. You'll find yourself every time trying to locate a particular file or the document or something that you save on the computer. So we will familiarize ourselves with that. We'll come back and we'll learn how to create folders to organize our files and a lot of other stuff that we'll be doing with File Explorer. Well, thank you for watching this first section of our series. You can catch up on Rethink Tech on Facebook and YouTube. So it's just the first topic in that series, exploring Windows 10 user interface. So we just went through that, and we'll be moving on to the next phase of that, which will be the next step. The next thing we'll be going into, and there will be for today. So we'll cover two topics for today. We just explore our Windows 10 interface, and then we'll move on to file and folder management. How do I manage files and folders within the Windows 10 environment? So we'll cover two topics for today, not to bore you too much. There's a lot to cover. And then on another day, which will be probably tomorrow, day after tomorrow, the same time, I'll just do these videos and we can save them and people can come and watch them later on. So, or I might just pre-record them. But we will be moving next to our next section, file and folder management and Windows 10. All right, stay tuned as we take a look at what that has for us, and that'll be that for today. Once we cover those, we'll be done for today. Not to bore you with too many topics in one, and then we'll continue tomorrow with the kind of software and application that comes with Windows 10, and then we'll be diving deeper, as I said, into most of our training will be based on a lot of practical stuff we'll be doing in there, and we'll be demonstrating how those things are done. But before then, we'll move on to file and folder management. What are files? I would say files are the documents that we do create on our computer using an application like Microsoft Word or Microsoft Excel. And folder, we say, is the container that you store those files in, right? So if I work in an environment, I can create a folder called project, and I can save all my project files into project. I can create another folder called documents that have to do with finances. I store in finance. And the reason is very simple. For organization and easy access. So these are the topics we'll be covering within this topic. Understanding your file management. Why is file management important? Components of file management. Types of files. Understanding file attention and folder management. So in this session, we'll cover the concept of file management is important. And it is important for us to learn to manage our files. Very, very importantly. I've been seeing a lot of people, and in most cases myself, we've download a file, we save a file, we'll come back the next day or after 2 weeks, and we can find that particular file that we've saved or we've kept, right? So we have to search all the computer from different locations. It's like in your home, right? Have you misplaced something before, where you came home and you drop a key somewhere, or you put something down, money or something down, and you can just find it, and you find yourself checking the whole house and turning everything upside down to locate that item? It happens when we're using the computer too, right? We it happens when we're using the computer. We might keep something. We might have done a piece of job, or document working, and we didn't pay attention closely while we kept it. And you come back the next day and you turn the whole computer upside down, right? Trying to locate that particular item. So understanding file management and folder management will help you to better organize the resources or your files and folders on your computer so that you can easily access these things. So they said file management refers to the process of administering, organizing, and ensuring the proper use and storage of data files in a computer storage media. It involves a set of activities. It include creating, naming, moving, copying, deleting, organizing files and folders in a systematic way on the computer. File management can be performed manually by computer users or automatically by an operating system or a file management software. But in this case, we will be creating files, we will be creating folders, and seeing how we can organize them in a systematic way so that when we want to find an item, we're not struggling to find those things. We can easily locate what we're looking for. I know there are some people that will agree with me who've gone through that hurdle before of trying to locate a particular file or a folder that they thought they had it, they kept it in the computer and they cannot locate it. And it's time consuming. You sit in there, it gets frustrating. And mostly, for example, you did a PowerPoint presentation and you're supposed to be presenting that work at 9 p.m., 9 a.m. in the morning office. And everybody has taken that seat at 8:55. And it's your time to pop up your PowerPoint presentation to present to, to present it in the ballroom or wherever you need to present it. And you go to the location you thought you kept that file, that PowerPoint presentation, and you cannot find it. But you got 5 minutes to time. You got hundreds of people waiting for you for your presentation. That's when you begin to actually sweat. That's when you begin to actually understand the importance of file and folder management. Because you know what? You didn't create a specific location, create a particular folder called marketing presentation where you keep that presentation in so that when you get back to your computer, you go back to that location. Oh, yes, I saved, yes, did the work. You save it, you pay attention to where you're saving at the same time. And that becomes a problem for you. You have 5 minutes of time to present your marketing proposal. And now you cannot locate it because you can't remember where you kept it at. It has happened and it still happened up to today. So let's dive into file management and folder management. And as we said, it help for ease of data retrieval. It help us to easily retrieve our file and data we store. It's help for data security because I can lock those files and folders that I'm saving in a particular location, right? And what I sometimes do is that I create like files or folders with there's some document I want people to see on my computer. I create folders within folders and folders within folders and folder within folder, right? So it sounds crazy, but that's manual security, right? If you open the 10 different folders and they're all blank, you're not gonna go for it. You're gonna just stop at the fifth one, say, but there's nothing in here. But I actually save it in the 11th one. So just say, and then for space management on your hard drive, right? And then for data backup and recovery, effective file management practice includes regular data backup, right? So data backup is where you storing the data stored on your computer onto an external drive. And you find a lot of people computer crashing and then they come back, they're like, oh, how can I retrieve the data on my computer? And sometimes it's recoverable, sometimes it's not. But that's a very, very expensive process. So my advice is that if you have the means, you can buy an external device or storage device where you can back up all of your important data, like pictures and stuff. A lot of people have lost their family pictures that they've been saving for decades because they had it on the computer system and they crash. So you can have an external drive where you can back up all your data on there. Or now that we have the cloud, you can back it up onto the cloud. You have to pay a little bit of cents. Sometimes it's $1 cent, sometimes 99 cents, sometimes $2 a month to save your data in the cloud, your family pictures that you want to preserve for generations to come. You can save in the cloud. And in the cloud, you can have access to that anytime it comes. So that's part of file management. and that's why it's important. So the components of file management will have the files itself. That's the actual data, which have a unique name. We have the folders or directories. When computers started, they used to call it directories. When you deal with MS-DOS, they refer to folders as directories. But when Windows was introduced, then we began to hear about folders. So before the introduction of Windows, folders were referred to as directories. It's the same thing. And the file system is just a structure that is being used to organize that, right? And the path, and that is important. The path of the file is important. And the path is, how do I get from point A to point B, right? A file, the path is the location where I have saved that document or that particular data, right? So that is important. Every time you're saving your work on a computer or you want to keep something, you have to remember the path. It's like I'm traveling, I'm going on a trail to do hiking. I have to know the path that I need to travel, and that's why you see a lot of time people have the map of the trail, because you need to know the path that you're going through to get to your final destination, and then you still have to you still need that to get back to where you came from. So that path is like a roadmap that shows you where to get or how to get to where you want to go. So the path of the file is important. It enables you and helps you to locate or to access the file that you have stored on that computer. If you don't have that or you don't know it, then you cannot easily have access to that. And the file extension, which is the last thing on the list here, is quite important, because the file extension, it tells you very important thing. What kind of file is that? What kind of document is that? What kind of data is stored in that? And in the next few slides, we'll be looking at the different type of file extensions. If I'm dealing with audio, they have audio file have different extensions. Video file have different extensions. Excel file has different extensions, and different documents or different applications uses different extensions for the kind of files that they create in them. So we'll look at a couple of them on the next couple of slides. So types of files. We have text files. These are just contain text. Your characters you type from the keyboard, like Microsoft Word. You find like .doc extension, .txt is for plain text. Like you create a text in notebook or notepad on the computer. Uh, it comes with that extension. Spreadsheets, as I said, like Microsoft Excel and other spreadsheet applications, they have that own extension. .xlx is actually for Microsoft Excel, or XLSX. If you see there, it's for Microsoft. And then .ods, Open Document Spreadsheet for Software. So there are other vendors that produces like spreadsheet applications, so they will have a different extension or file extensions. And presentation like Microsoft PowerPoints and stuff, they have their own document extension. PowerPoint, you'll see the PPT or the PPTX. And then if it's an open document presentation software from LibreOffice, it comes with the extension of .odp. Images, that's a big one. We have different type of file extension for different type of images. There's JPEG, there's PNP, GIF. You sometimes see GIF for light, not too heavy, graphics, bitmap, BMP, stuff like bitmap. And then TIF, we're not going to the details of them because they're created by different applications, but just be aware that there are different extensions for different files that we create on a computer. And these are will be for pictures, and they are for specific environment. When you're working, they'll tell you like, oh well, the picture we accept our picture that has extension of the PNG. And some application will tell you that, oh, the only picture that you can load be dot JPG. Those are the file extension that I accept. If you want to upload pictures onto this site, the only picture to be accepted will be what dot JPG. Now, so if you have a picture saved with the extension of that PNG, you cannot upload it to that location because they only accept that JPG. That means you have to convert. So later on, we'll see how you can convert from one file version to another file version, right? I can create a document in Word, and I can I can convert it to a PowerPoint. I can change from one of the file extension pictures specifically, and I can even change my pictures to and convert it to a PDF document at the same time too. So we'll look up a little bit in other sections. How do I convert file from one file to another file? That's very important most of the time. And then audio files. These are the extension of audio file. .mp3. We all know MP3. I think there was one point in time we had this, we call it MP3 players. It's just audio files, right? So that means that device could play audio file, and the particular audio file that you play on those devices that with the MP3 format. They have the .wave, .AAC, and the rest of the file extensions. Video files, .mp4, .avr, .move. So those are different file extensions for different kind of video format that you created. And executable files are very, very important files. For our applications to work, we need what they call executable files. That's the file that actually powers your application to work. So if your application executable file is corrupt, you will not be able to execute that file. You will not be able to open that file to do any kind of work because the executable file is corrupt. So these files contain programs or software. In Windows, these usually have a .exe extension. In Mac OS, they often comes as .app files packaged inside a .dmg file. So Apple has a different way of naming convention that it names as file extension. Microsoft Windows, we deal with mostly Microsoft Windows. That's why a lot of stuff is in Microsoft Windows file format. So Apple might have different, ways it for file extension. So you see an example just for executable files or programs. Apple executable files, so you're not going to see .exe for Apple executable files. You see .app. So just be aware of that. You don't do much with executable files. You don't delete them. You don't mess with them, so to speak. You leave them as they are. They're not for you to play with them. Because if you play with them and you corrupt them, your application or your software would not be able to open or work for you until you reinstall it. Then you can have them working. So do not ever mess with executable files. Leave them as they are. Compressed files. These files contain one or more files or folders that have been reduced in size. This most common files are .zip. So if you see .zip and .rar, these are compressed files. Sometimes the size of the file is too large. You cannot put it on a storage medium, or you cannot transfer it to the internet, to the network. We should take, or if you want to transfer the file, the size should be 1 megabyte, should be 2 megabytes, should be 3 megabytes. But I have a file that is 3 gigabytes. So how do I move that file from one, location, or transfer it from one system to another system, to the network or to the internet? I have to either convert it or compress it as a zip file, which is much compressed, much lighter for smaller size, and then I'll be able to, transfer it or move it between systems. So most of the time, a lot of software packages, but the software they come with like hundreds and thousands of files. So usually they will come as zip files. Then you do what we call unzipped, and then once you unzipped, then it will give you access to all the files. So you zipping it to kind of compress it to make it light, so you can transfer it or download it into your system or move it from one system to another system. Those are compressed files. And then also have the database files. These are files that contain structured set of data. Examples include Microsoft.mdb, Microsoft Access, or .db, or SQLite. So database files also have their own file extensions. And so be aware of the file extensions. There's not much you need to do with file extensions. You just gotta be aware. If you see the DOC, that's a document that's created Microsoft Word, or some document application, right? So just be aware of the extension. You don't do much with the file extension. You just don't do much about it, except you want to compress a file. That's a different story. But the file extensions are created automatically by the application that you're using. If I create a document in Microsoft Word and I'm saving it, Microsoft Word will save it with its own extension. I don't have to type the .doc. No, I'm not involved in that. So the system will save the file with the extension based upon the kind of application you're working in. When I'm working in Excel and I'm saving the Excel file, all I need to do in Excel is to give the name to that file, and Excel will assign the extension to that file for me. I don't have to assign that at all. but I can convert it at a later date. If I have a picture that I want to transfer to somebody, but if the size of the picture is too large, I can convert that picture into a PDF file, which is much lighter, and transfer it. So you can convert file. We'll teach you, subsequent section, how do I convert from one file to another file. I can convert my PDF file, my presentations or PowerPoint presentation into a PDF. The PDF is more portable. A lot of people do that most of the time, right? If you want to try to upload some data online or on the internet or somewhere, say, oh, it should be a PDF format. It should be in PDF. It should be in PDF. But how do I get it to PDF? Because PDF is, you don't typically like type in PDF or design it in PDF. So what you're going to be using will be using that you'll be converting that document from its format to PDF. And most of the time, like Microsoft Word will allow you to save a document as a PDF. I can type a letter, like a document in Microsoft Word, and I can use the save as command in Microsoft Word, and it will save that document as a PDF for me. I don't have to say convert it, right? And even Excel will do the same thing. I can create an Excel spreadsheet, and I want to convert that to PDF. I can go back to Excel and save as, and it will give me the option to save that document as a PDF in the PDF format instead of a typical Excel format. The same with a spreadsheet. So a lot of the application will come with that function where it will allow you to work, to design, or do what you want to do in that application. And then when you're about to save the work, you can use there's a command in the application called save as. We'll see there when we start working with Microsoft Word, and that we'll type a document, and then we'll learn how to change the format from Microsoft Word to a PDF format. Because a lot of website, a lot of businesses, and when you fill out a lot of form online, will ask you, oh, if you want to upload this document, upload it as a PDF document. So how do I convert it from its original format to a PDF document? You can do that. It's possible. So these are the same. We just spoke about file, extension briefly on the previous slide. It's just a little bit more detail about what file extensions are and why they're important. So this is what we're going to be doing for this last slide, and will be yep. So we got 2 more slides to go, and this is what we'll be doing a little bit. How to create from them, how to move them from place to place, how to delete them, how to organize them, search for them, create shortcuts, compress them, and how to access them. So we'll be going back to Windows 10 to see how we can, create folders to organize our files. So stay tuned with us as we switch over to Windows 10, and this will be our last topic for today, and then we'll be signing off on for today, and then we'll take 2 more in our next section, which will be tomorrow, and then we'll complete the Windows 10, the introduction to Windows 10 environment, and how to work around Windows 10 and Windows. Right. So it's always said that. Okay, give me a second. Let me open that. So you look there, currently we have the Windows 10 desktop open. So you have to decide where you want to create your folder, right? And folder we say is just a storage container. It's the location where you be keeping things in, right? So I can create it in any location on the computer. So how do I get to the different locations on the computer? I can go back to this start button or the start menu. I can come start, and then in there I can just type File Explorer in the search bar. And if you look on the list, the second on the list will be, you see File Explorer. I can click on that. It's going to open that for me. So once you open File Explorer, then I have to find the location where I want to create my folder. So a folder is a container for keeping your file or your other documents. So once I'm in File Explorer, I'll see desktop, downloads, documents. Most of the time you save it in documents, right? So we'll first start with the desktop. I can click on desktop. It's going to give me the desktop. Desktop is a folder, right? When you open your computer, the first place looking at, that's the desktop. and it's going to open it in this box. And for some reason, they named this box a window. Once I open a folder, it opens in another box or an area, and that area is referred to as a window, right? And in that window, you can do so many things. You can create files, you can create folders, and you can move things around to where you want to be. But here we're more focused on creating new folders where we can keep our stuff in to keep our things organized. So if I go back on in that window, in that space that's provided on the top left hand corner, I'll see file. I can click on file. Oh, this I'm working different. Yeah, I got two different. Sorry, I got two different windows up in there. Yes, I want this one, not the one I'm looking at up there. That's the virtual window. All right, sorry about that. I can click on file here, and that window that is open, this one, I can click on file. So you can open another new window if you want to. But we're not doing all those things, right? Home. Home gives you a lot of different tools that you can use with your folders. You got pin to outload, copy, paste, uh, delete, rename, new folder. And that would also have a button called share. Share is where you want to, have other people to have access to what you've created. View. I can change that. This little box I'm looking at, I'm calling a window or the space. I can change how the appearance of it and how things are organized in there. I can click on large icons. All right, let's open documents and see if we got the stuff in here. Then we'll much better see that. All right, let's create some documents first. Let's create some folders. Then we'll better see that. Okay, let's see view. We got two items in there, and then I click on large icons. So it's gonna make them bigger. If I prefer to see, things in my window, much bigger like that, I can do that. I want to see them smaller. I can click on that. Titles. I'm going to see us there. And then details. Details will give a little bit more information about them. The name, the size, and the type. It's a file folder. You can see that right there. It's a file folder. It's right. Okay, as you can see here. If you look at, you see preview pane, right? Where you can, if you click on a document, they give you a preview of what's in that document. Then you can just, look at it, and you just a preview. Give you a preview. It's like a preview. You want a movie, and they give you a preview of the movie before the actual movie, right? So, but let's go back to creating. How do we create a folder in here? So if you see new folder. So once I click on that new folder, and the first thing I'm going to do in there is that I have to give a name to that new folder. So the name can be rethink. You can call that THR and rethink. And then once I type a name for that new folder I just created, I will press the enter key. If you look in there, there's a folder there called rethink that was not there initially. So now I have rethink. I can open rethink because what I'm currently looking at here is I'm in a folder called pictures, right? And camera roll and save pictures. So within pictures, I created another folder called rethink. So and the name, so I can say rethink. So I'm going back to edit that name because I realized that I want to call it rethinks, right? Or rethink photo. So I can use my right mouse button, or I can press F2 on the keyboard while once I click on that folder to rename it or change the name, I either right click or I press F2 on the keyboard. And then you see that it's highlighted as it is. Then I can click back in there, type photo. Rating photos. So I can use underscore two names, but I cannot use any character and the rest of the stuff. I can now use it in the name of folder, right? So once I'm done with that, I can press enter again, and my folder remains on the computer. Then I can open that folder. I can double click on that folder to open it. So if you look on top of that, if you look on top of that box or that area that we call Windows, you'll see rethink photos. So the essence of that folder or that container is that all the rethink tech pictures will be taken during different events and during different times. We'll keep them in that particular location called rethink photos. But within rethink photos, I can have different subfolders, right? We had a conference in 2023. We have another one in 2022, 2021, right? So I can go back and rethink photos, and then I create separate new folders to store. So I type conference 2022, enter. So I have a folder called conference 2022, and I can go back to home, new, and create another one called conference. And then I go back to home on that window, new, and create conference 2024. So now, so instead of keeping all the pictures from the conferences for the 3 different years in one folder, I have to go through like thousands of pictures to locate just a particular picture, which is time consuming. So to minimize that and to make it more efficient and more effective when I want to retrieve a particular picture or access it, I create different folders for different years that we did conduct conferences in the 3 different years. And even as that, if I want to get down to the bottom of it, I can go back to, I can open the 2002 folder by double clicking on that. I mean, you click the mouse button twice. And then within conference 2022, I can have pictures from different sections. I can have picture from the software section, from the AI section, from the high school section, from different sections, right? So you can create different subfolders just to keep your data organized. So that if I want to find specific issue or specific folder or file, it's easily done, and I'm not running all over the place on the computer trying to locate a particular file or a particular folder. This little arrow here is that's the back arrow or up one or this one. I can use that if I want to go back to the previous location where I came from. It's like I took 2 steps forward and I want to take two. I want to go back to where I came from. I can take 2 steps backwards. So right. So that's what that back button is for. I've gone 2 steps ahead. I want to go back another step from where I came from my previous location. So I click back. It's bringing me back to where I have my 3 folders kept. If I want to go back another step into rethink, and I go back to rethink, and I see rethink photos. So rethink photos is right there, and it is within rethink photos that we have 24. So I remember the location, right? So that's how we do create folders. And then we'll just create folders within folders. And the essence is for us to reorganize, or for us to organize our files and folders for easy access. That's important of creating folders to be able to organize our item. And it's always good to give specific names to your folders based upon the content, based upon what you are saving or what you are keeping within our folders. So that when you see your folder now, oh, these are the pictures from conference 2022, these are the ones from 2023. What if I just say as name other than as conference 1, conference 2, I just call them conference, the 3 folders? How do I know that that's 2022 pictures, that's 2020 pictures? And sometimes you can have a lot of folders on your computer. So the naming of your folder is very important based on the content of your folder. based on what I'm displaying or what I'm keeping in those folders, it is important that the content or the name is very specific to the kind of document or data that I've stored within that folder. How do I change the name? Let's come back to written tech or written. I got written photos, but I want to change the name from written photos to written pictures. So I can click on it and either press F2 on the keyboard, or I can right click on it. And on that long list you're looking at up there, you'll see rename on the list. As a list, and on that list, you'll see rename, you'll see delete, you see shortcut, you see copy, cut, send, and the rest of this long list of stuff and things you can do with that particular folder. But what we are most interested in now is how do I rename the name, and then as you've looked there, it is highlighted. So I'm going to go back and type a different name for that folder and call it all conferences or all conference pictures. And then I press the enter key. So basically what I just did was deleting pictures to all conference pages. You can be specific, but learning to change the name of the folder, that's how we change the name of the folder. Press F2, first click on the picture, and press F2, and then it helps you to, it sends that name into the edit mode. And then you can go back to your keyboard and type a new name for that folder. I'm going to go back into that folder and I'm going to delete that folder or delete the particular folder that I don't need. Assuming we haven't taken anything for 2024 yet. There's no conference that's taking place. Just as an example I gave you, but I want to delete the name that folder called conference 2024. So I can right click on it, and then on the list I will find delete. And then once I click on delete, it's going to ask me the question. Ask me that question. But in most instances, I don't know if because I'm using a virtual browser now, but in most instances, it's going to ask you if you are sure you click on yes. And what happens in most cases when we delete a file or a folder, it is not completely off the computer. It moves into a location, separate location on the computer called the recycle bin or the trash can. Like in our homes, when we done with trash, we press put in the recycle bin or in the trash can in the house. So in the computers, they simply apply. When I delete an item, I'm sending that item to the recycle bin. And if I come to the Windows 10 desktop, there's a there's a there's a bin up there called there's an icon there called the recycle bin. And then once I double click on recycle bin, if I log in there, I'll see conference 2024 because it was deleted from its original location. It's sent it to the trash can. And the amazing thing about it is that if I've deleted it by mistake, I can restore it. That means I can send it back to where I deleted it from. And to do that, I simply just click on that folder and right click on it. If I look on the first thing on the list that you see restore, and then I hit on restore, it's going to send it back to where it came from or where I deleted it from. That's a unique thing about Windows. So deleting an item does not necessarily mean that it's off the computer completely. But if you go to the recycle bin and delete the items or empty the recycle bin, then of course you cannot get it from the computer. But yet and still, at a much higher level, you can still retrieve that data. It's still residing somewhere. But at a much you have to understand a lot of stuff to be able to go to those locations to retrieve that. So deleting is not just it's going completely different system. It's somewhere in the system that file or folder can still be found, can still be accessed. but that's a topic for advanced users and the rest of the stuff, right? So just understand that when you delete an item, you can go back to the recycle bin and you can restore it. If you think that it was a mistake, it was mistakenly deleted, you can go back to the recycle bin and restore it. So we saw how we can how to rename our files, how we created a folder, and how to change the name, and how we deleted it, and how we restore it back to where we go back to our topic and see okay, this is the stage. Find folder, deleting, organizing, folder search, shortcut, compression. All right, let's go back to our virtual box here. So there's a lot of stuff on the menu. When I click on that we're not going to go over, but I just want to talk about them a little bit to have an idea, to be aware that they are there, right? Because we're going to talk about this stuff. We're going to need another 2-3 hours to go through them. But open the new window. If you want to open that item, that just right click on in a new window. That'll be a new work area, right? A new box by itself. I'll put out a box for now, or a new window. You can do that. Pin it to quick access. Quick access on the start menu where you can have easy access to that particular item. You can click on quick access. We'll try that and see, and we'll go back and see if it is actually there. If you right click on that, it's been that playlist because it's not music, it's just a complete folder. Casting is a new feature where you can show it onto your computer screen, but you got to have all your stuff synced in house onto your Wi-Fi. Give access to, that's network environment. You want to have other people using the computer to have access to that particular file. That's for file sharing. You can do that. Restore previous version, include in the library. So you want to include that file in other libraries or in other locations on the computer, so that when I go to all these other locations, I can see that particular file located there. Pin it to the start menu. We'll pin it to the start menu, and we'll go to the start menu and see if we have it there actually. And then send to, you can send it as a shortcut to different locations. If right now we have it on in a location called pictures. I want to send it to a Bluetooth device. I want to send it to a desktop. I want to send it to my documents. This is the option, but not for our level here right now. So I can send it to documents. I can send it to the desktop and move it from where it is to a new location. Let's see that. I'm going to cut that folder from that location where it's at. Cut means I'm removing it from. So I'm cutting it from within pages into documents on my right hand. Pages, and I'm placing it in documents. So I go back to home and I click on paste. So I've moved it right there. So if I go back to pictures, you realize that that conference pictures is no longer in that location because I cut it, I remove it from there completely to a new location. So, and then there's another thing we saw that's called copy. Copy means that you have the original copy to the same location, and then you make another copy of it and place it somewhere else. So I'll click on, or I can click on home and click on paste. So once I click on that, so you realize now that I have a copy of that folder in this location called page. I have another copy in documents. So copy will make a duplicate of it and carry somewhere new or different. But cut will remove it completely from where it is to a new location. So pay note of that and take attention of that. And if I right click on that, we did delete, we did rename, we have properties. Property just tell you a little bit, give you a little bit more detail about that particular file that you're dealing with, right? Actually, is read on it if you look in there. Sharing, if you want to share that file with other people using the computer on the network, I can hit on share. Type a name and click on I can just click my name there. and I click on art, and then I click on share. So I'm sharing it with other people. So it's very very simple, right? So I don't know else on that with my on my network will be able to have access to that particular item or that particular file or folder that I just created. Without opening the organization, I need to have access to the conference pictures, right? And we on a network environment, I can share it and everybody can have access to that. Security, when I dive into that, so that's from the share menu, right? So I just share that file on the network so that other people within my organization that are on the same network that I'm on can have access to that file. So that will bring us to the close of this section. Creating files, creating not file, but creating folders and working with them. So there's a lot of stuff you can do with them. We just went through a lot of those things here. So next up, we will be looking at the different applications that are within Windows 10, and then we'll be digging digging a little bit deeper in the Windows control panel. So stay tuned with us, and that will bring us to the close for our session for today. We'll be here for about an hour, 30 minutes. It shouldn't go that long. I want to do this session to be a little bit shorter sessions because it's go for an hour plus. But yeah, so next time we will just do one session at a time, one topic, and then we can dive a little bit deeper into this topic for like probably 30 minutes and so. But we dive today like into two different topics: the file management and introduction to the Windows 10 environment. So thank you for sticking with us. And if you be watching this video after, if you have any question, just shoot us a message on our Facebook page. And you need assistance with anything in your Windows 10 or something you don't understand, shoot us a message and we'll get back to you as quickly as we can. So we want to say thank you for watching. And if you'll be watching this video after, we'll say thank you too. Just leave us a comment and on how we can improve and what we can do better. So thank you, and you have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, and enjoy your day. I'll stop sharing. All right, thank you. I've been Young here with Retain Tech. You have yourself a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you for sticking with us. We'll be back here digging a little bit more deeper into Microsoft Windows operating system. Today was just for business stuff, and we'll recap tomorrow. Thank you and bye.